You may have heard about the Little Free Library project, and what it is we just build these little lending libraries that are put up in neighborhoods all over the place. They have their standard model that looks like this, but a lot of people like to put their own twist on it. Here's one that looks like a TARDIS. Here's another one that I worked on that looks like a robot. And this is another one I worked on where I just put a new roof on it, and it was made from in front of an old medicine cabinet. Anyway, this is a really great project. It gets books into the hands of kids and neighbors, and the neighborhood association in my neighborhood has approached me and asked me to build one that looks like the streetcar that adorns all the street signs in our neighborhood. So that's today's project. I'm going to build something, and while I do it, I'm going to listen to the Makers Hustle podcast. So this little library is going to be perched on a single 4x4. The first thing I'm going to do is build a socket that is going to slide over the 4x4, and that way when I give it to the association, all they got to do is plant a 4x4 someplace and put 4 screws in, which I will provide. So this thing here is called a Xylus vise, and they didn't pay me to say that or anything, but it is one of the handiest tools I have. Okay, there's my perch. The next thing I want to build is the actual floor of the unit, and I'm just going to use this furniture grade plywood for that. I think about 30 inches is going to be a good size. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Yeah, now I'll put a back on it, and I want the whole face to open, so it's just going to be 2 doors that open up. It was right about here where the microphone battery died, and I didn't notice for about half an hour, but this is where I'm starting to build the roof section. Here I'm transferring the location of the walls to the roof and marking and drilling for screw holes. Later I'll have to come in and sand off the edges to give that sloped roof look. I'm just using a piece of redwood 2x6 for the top tier roof. There are a lot of ways I could have rounded off these corners, but the coping saw was handy, so I just used it. Since I don't have any hand planes, and quite frankly don't know how to use them anyway, I just broke out the $29 belt sander to round off these edges. Anyway, I continue the process onto the main roof section and taper it off to look like the one in the picture. Anyway, the roof section turned out looking real good, but that belt sander left a real mess. All that was left was to cut the doors, and since they weren't quite tall enough with the scrap I had, I also cut a piece of 1x2 to fill the gap. All I need to do now is screw the lid on and get some handles. I think I'll use these stainless U-bolts for handles. Now I'll just install my socket for the 4x4 post, and I'll take it up there and let them get the kids of the neighborhood to paint it. So there it is, the streetcar themed free little library. And at this point it has the shape, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand it over to the neighborhood association, and they're going to let the kids of the neighborhood paint it to finish off the look. Click up here to see my last video. Click up here to see something in mine that YouTube thinks you'll like. And have a good one.